Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking about the 10 Magic Stones Super Godfest that features the debut of 2 new Godfest exclusives. So, this Super Godfest features a 40.5% chance to acquire any of the quote-unquote goodies. I say goodies because it's either the Godfest exclusives or the Rem draw, or in this case, the 2 draw that is actually featured. And in the case of this Super Godfest, there's a 40.5% chance to acquire any of those types of cards, which is definitely on the higher end. I feel like as a baseline bare minimum, we're kind of starting to see like 35, maybe 36% chance to get any kind of goodie, so to speak. So this is on the higher end, along with the fact that it's featuring 2 brand new Godfest exclusives, which are incredibly powerful leaders. But with that being said, I feel that if you are someone who's played for a bit of a period of time and you did manage to get the free Royal Oak Nautilus or the Sea Wolf Daytona, you have a potential to already build an endgame team. Now, obviously with Seatona and Naughty Oak, the issues are team building with the different rarity clauses, whereas these 2 new Godfest exclusives have a bit more flexibility in their team building. And as a whole, this Super Godfest is definitely reasonably strong. It also features enhanced rolling rates for these new Godfest exclusives, along with Hades and Karen to make those new farmable Monster Exchange cards. But with that being said, I want to talk about these new Godfest exclusives because if you are fortunate enough to roll in this, or you are on the fence of whether you want to roll in this and you're wanting to know about the new tasty prizes, look no further than Grannerv. I don't know how to pronounce any names, unfortunately. But this is basically a blue dragon, which obviously makes it much more interesting for myself. And it's kind of what I feel like what Orochi aspires to be, but Orochi never actually achieved for some reason. I don't know why. But either way, the reason for that is because on a 30-turn cooldown for the transformation aspect, they give you a 5-turn delay. And then, once you are able to transform from this, you will have an incredibly potent leader, or even sub if you really want to make that argument, because they have 3 10 combos, 2 TPAs, and a levitation, which basically counteracts super gravity. So they're going to be hitting incredibly hard, even in super gravity-based dungeons. And even though these offensive awakenings are kind of quote-unquote overkill for a transforming card, on a 3-turn cooldown, they give they increase their damage cap to 8 billion, and 8 billion sounds ridiculous, but I feel like it's going to have at least some potential to being hit, especially in, obviously super gravity dungeons, because, well, main attribute's probably going to crush it. Sub attribute has a good chance of hitting it as well. And then for 1 turn, you bypass or ignore damage and attribute absorption cancellation. So this is a 3-turn cooldown, so this is pretty spicy overall. And at an 8-star rarity, in theory, you can utilize them on your Naughty Oak or Seatona teams, and they can definitely function well if you need a nice absorption cancellation spawn. But the fun doesn't stop there, because they are actually a potent leader in their own right. They are a mixture of flat health and damage reduction, so it's not going to be the gigantic brainlessness of Seatona and Naughty Oak in the sense that, well, you just have flat health multiplier, you can tank hits and auto heal. For this individual here, you are able to have 12.25 times health, which is actually still pretty high. There's a period of time where many leaders only have that full amount as their damage reduction. Think of the original Daytona and Blackbird. They were 11.11 times effective health with their damage reduction. You have this already just with the shield. So there's a good chance, depending on the dungeon you play, you can just tank hits anyways. But when you match water and dark orbs, you gain 51% damage reduction along with bonus combos and auto follow-up attack. So obviously, these cards don't make their own orbs, so that can be a little bit of a drawback. But if you are able to acquire multiple Karen Dragons, and this is kind of quote-unquote a somewhat farmable solution, Karen Dragons will have, on a 3-turn cooldown after they transform their active skill, a way to make 3 water, wood, dark, and heart orbs. So you're guaranteed activation. It's not going to be many orbs necessarily, but at least guaranteed activation along with void, damage, void. So in theory, 3 Karen Dragons and 2 Grannervs are able to, in theory, form a team that counters all the absorption types, all the void, damage, void needs. You only really need a cleric, so maybe say Blue Albrecht, let's just throw him on the team, why not? In theory, that alone will cover most of the mechanics, and attack debuffs, time debuffs, whatever, you probably could find your way through it. I feel like you can probably pound your way through it, because when you think about it, these cards all have tremendous amounts of damage output, so damage shouldn't probably be lacking, and the team can kind of play itself in a sense. In theory, matching just 2 combos, gives you 8 in, like, overall. Like, a water and dark becomes 8 combos. Match 2 more, which I feel like you definitely can do. You hit 10 combos, you hit all, like, your damage offensive awakening. So it is an incredibly powerful leader. It can also function as a sub when I really think about it. Like, why not? So obviously a great Godfest exclusive if you are fortunate enough to pick them up. And then the new Godfest exclusive, the other one, is Portal. So, Portal has one of the silliest names, and they are going to follow a similar pattern to, like, Seatona and Naughty Oak in the sense that they are a multi-step transforming card. So, you have to get 2 turns of haste upon their initial transformation. Wait, no, sorry. They have creating a spinner. So, like, they're going to be a weird playstyle, but we're going to come back to the spinner later. So they have 4 skill boosts. They need 27 to transform. 1 less skill boost compared to Seatona and Naughty Oak. And then their second form, they give haste. And then after those 6 turns, they're fully transformed in their, like, cool final form. So they're called Gazilion Omnidragon. Like, a gazillion sounds like a word that I make up to be silly, so I think it's kind of silly myself. But either way, from an awakenings point of view, they have 4 10 combo awakenings, a levitation, and 4 enhanced hard orb awakenings. There's no movement time, so, like, you'll just have to find a way to puzzle faster. Their active skills on a 4-turn cooldown that gives you 10 turns of 1 spinner being created. But the issue is, this spinner is a weird spinner. It will cycle between only light, heart, jammer, and poison. Nothing else. That's all it's going to cycle through, and then unlocks the whole board and changes the whole board to light, hearts, jammer, and poison. And that sounds pretty weird, but the thing is, their leader skill is all tied to matching hazards. So they disable poison and mortal poison orb effects, which is great, so you don't actually hurt yourself. Poison resist, jammer resist is probably not something you necessarily need to bring because you kind of need those orbs. And then you gain 50 times attack. Like, look at this attack multiplier. 2,500 times attack is truly stupendous and outrageous. And then you get monstrous amounts of damage reduction, like absolutely monstrous amounts of damage reduction for 25 times effective health. We're definitely in an era of 25 times effective health. Gung Ho just basically went from like 16 times effective health to 25 times effective health in the span of a few months. Like, power creep is just like bigger numbers. And it's just going to be like that, I think, for the foreseeable future. So right now, giant numbers. And then it creates... Then your full leader skill will activate when you match light, jammer, poison, orbs. So those hard orbs are technically not necessary, but you need the 2 hazards and light orbs. And then you get bonus combos when matching those respective orbs and auto fall of attack. So in theory, if you make just 3 combos of light, jammer, poison orbs, you become 13 combos. It is just so silly. Like, numbers are just grossly inflated at this point in time. And obviously this can be a bit of an odd play style. Like, you may want to have some movement time to, you know, actually play the spinner game potentially, because generating jammers and poison orbs is kind of, you know, not that feasible for the most part. So you're going to possibly be relying on the spinner. But with 25 times effective health and all of it tied to a shield, you are completely safe from any gravity-based style attack. You have unbelievable bulk that you should probably not be dying. And unlike Seatona and Naughty Oak, you can heal back to full health with relative ease. This spinner lets you obviously fish out heart orbs, and because you have a flat 1 times health, 1 times RCV, and these enhanced hard orb awakenings with a respectably large RCV stat, you can heal back up to full health with relative ease, which in turn makes it so you can tank very large repeated hits, assuming you don't actually get one shot. So a pretty spectacular leader overall with what is, in all honesty, kind of a weird, wonky playstyle. And then their weapon assist is outrageous. They have 2 negative skill boosts, but they give a 10 combo awakening. Like, power creep is going a little bit out of hand, I feel like. To a certain extent, I feel like Gung Ho's kind of almost like running out of ideas and just like slapping on bigger numbers and calling it a day. And that's kind of what we're at least kind of approaching at this point in time. So as a whole, this Godfest does feature 2 new and extremely powerful Godfest exclusive cards. Gazilion Dragon is only really going to be good as a leader because I don't want to make those hazards as a sub, whereas Grannerv, I don't know, names are weird for me, but the blue Orochi Intimidator is an incredibly strong leader, and I feel like it definitely can function as a sub, because when you think about it, for your Seatona and Naughty Oak teams, that 5-turn delay upon transformation can help you bridge that extra transformation gap for your team, and it opens up possibly new rarity possibilities because they need different rarities. So, with that being said, let me know what you, ladies and gentlemen, think about these 2 new Godfest exclusives in the comment section down below. Do you think Gung Ho is just purely pushing out, like, we do bigger numbers, cool, call it a day? Did you roll in this Godfest? Did you actually acquire them? Whatever it may be, let me know what you think about them in the comment section down below. Regardless of all that, hopefully all you lovely ladies and gentlemen out there have a truly fantastic day. I wish you the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.